The sun rose quietly over a small city in California as the children at Hope House Orphanage prepared for another ordinary day. The staff bustled through the halls, helping the youngest tie shoes and smoothing stray hairs before breakfast. In the dining room, laughter mixed with the clatter of dishes, but beneath it lingered a sense of longing and the quiet ache of dreams postponed. Among the children was 10-year-old Jalen, who spent most mornings drawing in his notebook. His pictures were full of families, some real, some imagined, all together and smiling. Like most of his friends, Jalen clung to hope, but had learned not to expect too much. Hope House was a loving place, but resources were tight. The walls needed fresh paint, the playground had broken swings, and sometimes there weren't enough tutors to help with homework. Yet the staff worked tirelessly to create moments of magic. A pizza party here, a movie night there. On this particular morning, whispers began to ripple through the halls. Ms. Linda, the director, had an unusual sparkle in her eye as she told the children, "We have a very special guest coming today." The kids buzzed with curiosity. Some guessed it was a local celebrity or maybe a politician. Jalen tried not to get too excited, but his friend Ava was convinced it would be someone famous. "Maybe a rapper," she said, giggling. Jalen laughed, not daring to hope. He'd learned that big surprises usually weren't for kids like them. Late in the afternoon, a convoy of black SUVs pulled up outside the orphanage gates. Children pressed their faces to the windows, craning their necks to see. When Snoop Dogg stepped out, tall and unmistakable in his laid-back style and gold chains, jaws dropped and the air filled with shrieks of disbelief. Snoop strolled up the walk, waving and grinning, his charisma as natural as sunlight. The staff stood stunned, and Ms. Linda rushed forward, almost in tears. "Welcome, Snoop," she managed, voice trembling. Snoop embraced her warmly. "Thank you for having me," he said. "Today's all about the kids." Turning to the crowd, he knelt down and opened his arms wide. "Where my lil' homies at?" The children rushed outside, swarming around him with questions, high fives, and nervous laughter. Snoop squatted to eye level, giving each child his full attention, asking their names, dreams, and favorite songs. The walls between superstar and orphan vanished. Jalen stood back, watching in awe as Snoop complimented a drawing Ava showed him. When Snoop spotted Jalen's own sketchbook, he smiled. "You draw, young king? Let me see." Jalen shyly handed over his notebook. Snoop flipped through the pages, nodding. "You got talent, nephew. You ever thought about drawing album covers?" Jalen's smile was as bright as the California sky. Snoop spent hours with the kids, playing basketball, joining a dance circle, and leading a storytelling session. Laughter and music echoed across the playground, and for one afternoon, every child felt seen and cherished. Before he left, Snoop promised, "I'll be back, you hear? We family now." The kids cheered, believing him. For the first time in a long while, hope felt real at Hope House. But Snoop had something even bigger in mind. Something that would leave a mark not just on the orphanage, but on the world. News of Snoop Dogg's visit spread quickly. By evening, social media was flooded with photos of him laughing with the kids, playing games, and signing autographs. Headlines across the country read, "Snoop Dogg surprises orphanage with visit, inspires joy." The staff at Hope House received calls from journalists and well-wishers. Donations began to trickle in: clothes, school supplies, books. Local businesses offered help with repairs, and volunteers signed up for tutoring shifts. The orphanage, once overlooked, was suddenly at the heart of the city's attention. But what nobody outside knew was that Snoop had promised more than just a visit. He had sat with Ms. Linda and the staff, asking what the kids truly needed. "It ain't just about a day of fun," he said. "It's about building something lasting. We family now." Snoop called in favors from friends, sponsors, and his foundation. Within days, plans were underway for a new playground, after-school programs, and a creative arts fund for the children. His goal was clear. Every child at Hope House would have opportunities most kids only dreamed of. The children, still buzzing with excitement, talked about the visit non-stop. Jalen drew Snoop in his notebook, surrounded by smiling faces and musical notes. Ava began practicing new dance routines, determined to show Snoop next time he visited. A week later, Snoop returned, this time with a film crew. He gathered the children and staff in the courtyard for a special announcement. Cameras rolled as he said, "I didn't just come to say what up, I came to make y'all family. Today, I'm symbolically adopting every single one of y'all as my nephews and nieces." The children gasped, some tearing up. Jalen looked at Ava, eyes wide with disbelief. Ms. Linda wiped tears from her cheeks, overcome by the magnitude of Snoop's words. Snoop continued, "Y'all got a big family now, all across the world. And as your uncle, I'm gonna make sure you get every chance to shine." He handed out personalized gifts to every child. Art supplies for Jalen, dance shoes for Ava, books and instruments for others. Snoop knelt down and told them, "You matter. You're loved. And you got people fighting for you." The video of the symbolic adoption speech went viral overnight. People around the globe were moved by Snoop's compassion. Celebrities, athletes, and regular folks reposted the clip, sending messages of love and support. Donations skyrocketed. Letters arrived from as far away as Brazil and Japan. Some wrote to the kids, "We saw you on TV. You're not alone." Others asked, "How can we help?" Snoop's gesture became a rallying cry. News anchors spoke of the Snoop effect, noting how his actions sparked conversations about adoption, foster care, and the importance of community. Jalen, for the first time, slept with his sketchbook on his chest, dreaming not just of family, but of a world where anything was possible. Ava practiced her dance under the stars, twirling with hope. Hope House had become a beacon, and Snoop's promise had reached far beyond its walls. In the months that followed, life at Hope House transformed. Construction crews arrived, fixing broken swings and painting bright murals across the once dull playground walls. The sound of hammers and laughter mixed with music, sometimes Snoop's, sometimes the kids' own creations. Snoop kept his word, visiting often. Sometimes he brought famous friends who gave music lessons, dance workshops, or just spent time listening to the children's stories. Each visit brought new excitement, but also new opportunities. Jalen began drawing posters for the events, his art featured around the orphanage. Ava led a dance troupe that performed at the local community center, cheered on by staff, friends, and even strangers who had seen their story online. Ms. Linda watched the transformation with awe and gratitude. "These kids feel loved, seen, and supported," she told a reporter. "It's a new chapter for all of us." As the orphanage blossomed, Snoop's symbolic adoption inspired other celebrities and philanthropists to get involved in foster care. Across the country, similar programs popped up: arts grants, mentoring schemes, and community drives, carrying Snoop's message even further. Hope House received so many letters that the staff created a wall of love, covered with notes and artwork from supporters worldwide. Every morning, the kids gathered to read new messages, their favorite ritual. Snoop started a podcast where he interviewed children from Hope House and other orphanages. Their stories, full of resilience, humor, and raw honesty, captivated listeners everywhere. Jalen spoke about finding courage through art. Ava described how dance helped her heal. One special evening, the orphanage hosted a block party for the whole city. Snoop DJ'd while the children danced and performed. Parents considering adoption mingled with kids, volunteers, and supporters. For many, it was their first time at Hope House, and they left inspired to do more. Despite the excitement, Snoop reminded the world, "These kids don't need pity, they need opportunity. Talent and love live here, we just gotta see it." Jalen started dreaming bigger. With Snoop's encouragement, he submitted his drawings to an art contest and won first prize. Ava's dance video went viral, landing her a spot in a prestigious workshop. The children of Hope House, once defined by what they lacked, now stood out for their talents, dreams, and the size of their new family. Even when the cameras left, the love remained. Snoop's message had become a movement, and Hope House was living proof. On the anniversary of his first visit, Snoop Dogg returned to Hope House for a special celebration. The courtyard was filled with balloons, music, and the buzz of anticipation. News crews, local leaders, and families gathered as the children performed songs, dances, and shared poems they had written. As the sun set, Ms. Linda invited Snoop to speak. Standing under strings of lights, surrounded by children he now called family, Snoop took the microphone. His voice was gentle, but every word landed with power. "I came here to bring a little love But y'all gave it back 100 times more, he began. I see the pain and the hope in your eyes, and I want you to know, your story matters. He paused, looking at Jalen and Ava, then scanning the faces of every child. Family isn't just blood. It's about showing up for each other. It's about lifting each other up when the world tries to keep us down. Y'all are my family, I'm proud of you. And I ain't going nowhere. He challenged the world to act. We got too many kids waiting for someone to care. Don't wait. Be that someone. Open your home, your heart, your mind. These kids got dreams. Let's help them fly. Tears glistened on faces throughout the crowd. Ms. Linda hugged Snoop, whispering, "You gave us hope." The next day, clips of the speech trended worldwide. Newspapers called it the speech that moved a nation. People everywhere were inspired to volunteer, donate, or even consider fostering children themselves. At Hope House, change was now a way of life. The children believed in their futures. Staff felt renewed energy. Community support only grew stronger. Snoop's promise lived on, not just in gifts or headlines, but in the everyday moments. Laughter over breakfast, paint on little hands, music drifting through open windows. Jalen and Ava thrived, knowing their voices mattered. And as new children arrived at Hope House, they were welcomed by a family, larger than they could ever imagine. For Snoop, it wasn't about fame or publicity. It was about leaving a legacy of love, action, and belonging. And for everyone touched by his words, it was a reminder. Sometimes, the greatest change comes from simply showing up and caring enough to stay.